We are blessed. Today we are continuing in a series that I've entitled From Impediment to Empowerment. It is a practical series. It is a series on how do we turn obstacles into opportunities. We are using Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is the Way. A lot of times we think the obstacle is in the way. And this book and this series is all about shifting that and recognizing that the obstacle is actually the way. It can be the catalyst for the growth and the change that our soul is actually calling for. Inspired action is the focus this morning that we're going to be looking at. You know, when we think about it today, one of the most common things we say when we are asked, how are we? We respond and say, busy. And we want to talk this morning about how there is a difference between being busy and a difference between being active and being inspired and engaged. We want to be in the latter. According to Ryan Holiday, in his book, The Obstacle is the Way, he says that to move from impediment to empowerment takes 3 interrelated and interconnected disciplines. And those 3 disciplines are the discipline of perception, the discipline of action, and the discipline of will. There's no question that action is commonplace. Inspired action, not so much so. So what is inspired action? According to Ryan Holiday in his book, The Obstacle is the Way, inspired action is this. Number 1, inspired action is service to our greater life. Number 2, inspired action comes from a higher place. And then the 3rd, inspired action is part of the process. In human nature, we often, when one aspect of our life is ending and the new phase of our next life, the new phase of our life has not yet begun, and we're in that limbo state, that we tend to be very uncomfortable with that. And we tend to want to, some of you are really nodding, we want to figure out right now what that is because the discomfort of staying in that place of not knowing is too great. And the consequence of rushing through that limbo place, that place of not knowing, is then we are really only accessing usually our own thinking. We're not getting in touch with the deeper part of our soul. We're not getting in touch with God within us, really, that is trying to tell us a little bit more of what that new place or that new state or that new experience could be. So there's an element of getting comfortable staying in the question for a little while. So how do I want this to be is not a quick knee-jerk answer, but it goes deeper. How do I really want this to be? And then if we're really bold, we ask that question not of this situation, but about our lives. Well, how do I really want my life to be? Inspired action comes from vision, and ordinary action usually comes in a reactive way to the obstacle. When we are focused on the answer to that question, when it finally does come, and we are focused on the answer to that question, we will find that the action that we participate in is inspired, and it feels completely different